Hey. So we have been talking about cognitive biases, and we're going to be talking about cognitive biases, but in one of our videos we talked a little bit about what they are, but I thought it'd be worthwhile reviewing kind of a big picture. Okay, so cognitive biases are coping mechanisms. We have problems that are in just living, that in our perception of life, that are unavoidable. We cannot overcome them. So cognitive biases are a way of
living with them,
dealing with these problems. So it becomes clear pretty quick. Okay. So problem number one, there's too much information.
Oh yeah.
Okay. We see, we hear, we smell, we taste. We have these senses, and we take in information, and we take in a lot of information, but we can't take it all in.
No, try to read a newspaper.
If there's a butterfly on the bush right there, and then there's a car, half a mile away, I can't focus on both of them equally at the same time. I can't take in the amount of detail.
Right.
And so I have to pick one. Right. So our bodies, our brains have evolved, our whole nervous system has evolved to keep us alive. And so it has to constantly choose what to pay attention to, as decide what's more important, and usually it's got to do something to do with staying alive at the most basic level.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, fight or flight.
Threat assessment. We're constantly assessing threats at a really, really subconscious level.
True.
Okay. So too much information. So what do? We have to filter it. That's what I was just describing.
Okay.
We have to filter it.
So is cognitive bias?
We basically have to ignore some information and take and we decide what's important, and we take that in, and the stuff that's unimportant we let it go. Sometimes. Well, we're constantly just missing stuff. Okay, so there's this really cool, one of the cognitive biases that exemplifies this is called change blindness. And it's, again, not noticing when something has changed. Okay, so a test, a really fun test that I've done, and unfortunately I'm going to spoil it by talking about it, but they show people a video. Okay. And the video is a bunch of basketball players, like 6 basketball players on a basketball court, and they're passing the ball between them.
Right.
Okay. And the observer is asked to count how many times the ball is passed.
Okay.
The really fun thing is that while this is going on, while they're passing the ball, a person dressed in a gorilla suit dances through the scene. This kind of, just being silly, dances through the scene and goes off, it's like coming in from the left and exiting to the right. And you can, many people have watched this video, and they're trying to count how many times the ball is passed, and they literally do not see the guy in the gorilla suit or the person in the gorilla suit. They are blind to the change because their focus is on this other thing. I did it. I was shocked. It works. I know. Look, guys, try it. Go look it up. Okay. So the next problem. We have to filter information. The next problem is now we don't have enough meaning because we've filtered information out. Partly, but there's not enough meaning from all this information that we've got. The snippets, the edited information. So now in our brain we have to fill in the gaps, and so a lot of times we make up stuff that's not real. That can be false memories. That's kind of a gray. It's blending into another one of the areas that we haven't really talked about, which is what we remember. But so one example of creating meaning where it's not there is it's called the gambler's fallacy. Okay. And that is, let's say, one thing would be dice. So if somebody's playing craps, a 6 or an 8 are statistically 2 of the highest rolling winning numbers, and a 7 is the highest rolling number. It's a losing number normally. Okay. So let's say that, I forget what the odds are, but let's say it's 1 in 8 of rolling an 8. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, if 8 hasn't rolled, if there's been 20 rolls,
and it hasn't rolled,
and 8 hasn't rolled one time, then the gambler's fallacy says, "Oh, 8's due." Right. It's more likely that 8's going to roll now because it hasn't rolled in so many rolls.
Just like I put so many dollars into
a
machine and it's supposed to pay out for me.
Not true. I mean, that's what we want, but it's not true. What's true is the odds don't change. Okay, the odds of 8, if the odds are whatever they are of rolling an 8 on any one roll, those odds never change. It's always the same. Think of a coin. When you flip a coin, heads or tails, it's either heads or tails. You got so it's 1 out of 2. It's a 50-50 chance.
Right.
Okay, if you flip, the odds of flipping 21 heads in a row is like 1 in 2,100,000.
Okay.
Okay, or 2 million, yeah, I think, anyway, 2 million. Oh, it's over 2 million, 1 in 2 million. Okay, now, if I flipped 20 heads in a row and I'm getting ready to flip number 21, what are the odds that it's going to be heads?
Same as what it was before.
Exactly, 50-50.
Right.
It doesn't change. But people, we get this idea, we assign meaning to the string of events that happen, the 20 heads in a row, that it doesn't have. That's this not enough meaning. That's how we fill in gaps. Now there are more, there's a lot of cognitive biases around that, and we'll get into those in other things.
Okay.
Where it's more, where it actually has some survival benefit. This, this is just an example of how our thinking gets thinking.
Oh, I know, stinky thinking.
Okay, and then the third problem is not enough time.
Oh, that's true.
Okay, so we don't. We've got all this information, and many times we just need to make a decision.
Yeah,
we don't have time to think through all of the information that we have. We have to act. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's, there's many different reasons that force us to act. But the overall principle here of how these cognitive biases form around the not enough time is that we favor speed. We favor getting stuff done because generally acting is more effective than not acting.
True.
For survival.
True.
Okay.
That's kind of my mantra.
Yeah. And so one of the cognitive biases around favoring getting stuff done, basically, let's just get her done, is something called confirmation bias. And that is if some new information comes in that we're trying to decide, yay or nay to act, then if that information agrees with what we already thought and what we already believe, we just accept it and go.
True.
We're more inclined to accept what agrees with what we already thought than we are to stop and start from scratch and analyze it, right?
I'm not good at.
And so that's a.
It's just a confirmation in my book.
It is a confirmation, but it is a bias. It can lead us to make conclusions that are inaccurate and work against us.
That is true.
So again,
and that has happened.
Back to cognitive biases. They're coping mechanisms for problems that we can't make go away.
Okay.
So we have to accept that the problems exist, the cognitive biases are going to exist, we're never going to get rid of them. The best we can do is to be aware and when we can stop and take that pause, ask ourselves, okay, am I thinking about this, am I falling into one of these traps or not? And if
we are, there's not sometimes something we can do about it.
Well, just that awareness will at least mitigate it.
Okay.
Okay, like the gambler's fallacy.
Okay.
If you know, when you get that feeling, oh yeah, it's due. Oh wait a minute, no, I remember. The odds don't change. Okay. So that would be a recovery from falling into cognitive bias. Now we can't memorize all the cognitive biases. There's over 200 of them that Wikipedia put together. And this brilliant guy, I assume he's brilliant because he did a really nice job with this project. He organized all these into a big system, and he outlined these 3 problems. He started actually in 2016 with 4, and he took one away. He simplified it even more. And he's got 3 problems and then 13 strategies that we use. And each of these strategies is sort of a subgrouping of these cognitive biases. So we're going to tackle it from that point of view.
Okay.
And it makes it manageable.
Yeah, because
Much
otherwise,
more manageable.
I can't remember.
And it puts it kind of in that same realm of what Charlie Munger, when he's the kind of the big proponent of mental models, which these in a way are.
Yeah, they are.
They're more unconscious. But he says, you want to have a lattice work, a framework of many mental models that you use together and by using a collection of them, one tends to balance out the other, with the weaknesses of the other, because they're all shortcuts. Mental models are all shortcuts, just like cognitive biases are shortcuts.
Ah,
okay. So if we have these, groupings that we're aware of, these principles, and sometimes one cognitive bias then has like 3 or 4 that are either related to it or underneath it, triggered by it, and so we can simplify this down to something that's manageable and fun and interesting.
We like fun and interesting.
Let's have fun with it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.